Disney threw a staggering $250 million at a Snow White makeover, and still got outclassed by a movie where the hero's top-tier talent is literally playing in dirt. Rachel Zegler came into this role guns blazing, acting like the original Snow White personally offended her. And now she's watching a Minecraft flick harvest box office wins like it's farming enchanted diamonds. This isn't just a flop, it's an entire cultural breakdown. With snacks. But let's take a step back. Disney's been in crisis mode for a while now. Every remake lately feels less like storytelling and more like group therapy. They aren't making movies anymore, they're working through personal issues. The Little Mermaid barely stayed afloat. Peter Pan and Wendy disappeared without a trace. And then came the Snow White reboot. Less a reimagining, more like, what if we bulldozed everything that actually made the original magical? Enter Rachel Zegler. Young, undeniably talented, and somehow still managed to turn Disney's most treasured fairy tale into a drawn-out PSA about how love stories are outdated, and fair skin in folklore is an eye roll. Let's be real, the issue was never diversity. The real problem was the attitude. Rachel strutted into the spotlight like she was doing the audience a huge favor, talking trash about the classic film.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Rolling her eyes at Prince Charming, calling the 1937 film weird, and straight up saying she didn't need fans who didn't support her take ma'am. You're supposed to be Snow White, not giving a TED Talk at the BuzzFeed Empowerment Brunch. Hat press tour, less magical princess and more LinkedIn CEO vibes. She dismissed the entire foundation of the fairy tale, teased cutting the prince entirely, and made sure we all knew that romance was not invited to her version of the story. Basically, she treated Snow White the way a bitter barista handles their ex's playlist, loudly, aggressively, and with zero respect for what people actually loved about it. Then came the backlash. Fans weren't just mad, they were genuinely confused. If you hate everything about the original story, why are you even in the remake? That's like signing up to play Batman and announcing mid-interview that capes are lame. And just when it seemed like Disney might ride it out, South Park showed up with a wrecking ball called Into the Pandiverse. It didn't just throw shade at Disney, it pulled out the autopsy kit. The special dissected the exact formula that's been sinking modern media. Swapping out story for checklists, and assuming that optics are all it takes to win people over. In the episode, Cartman is haunted by a dystopian version of reality where every legacy character has been replaced by a woman of color who actively hates men.
Only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy. Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there?
They didn't even need to say Disney. Everyone instantly knew who the punchline was aimed at. Snow White, The Little Mermaid, Star Wars, Marvel, all served up as soulless leftovers, repackaged classics and faux progress wrapping. But somehow, Rachel Zegler became the face of all of it. She wasn't even in the South Park episode, but her energy? Oh, it was there. That smug delivery, that air of unearned moral superiority, that whole "I'm fixing it whether you like it or not" swagger. It was the perfect target for parody. And then she just kept the train wreck going. Instead of lying low, Rachel showed up to a nearly deserted theater with her squad, flowers in hand, filming a TikTok like she was walking the red carpet at the Oscars.
Please?
For which movie?
"2 tickets, please." Sis, you could have bought the whole row and still had room for yoga mats. What was meant to be a quirky, support my movie moment just came off as peak cringe. Even the ticket guy was clueless about what movie she was promoting. It felt like watching someone throw themselves a surprise party. And forget to send invites. Meanwhile, in Pixel Paradise, Minecraft casually steamrolled Snow White like it wasn't even trying. A movie some critics brushed off as too childish and too basic, raked in more money in one weekend than Snow White managed in 3. The box office numbers? Not just embarrassing, they were biblical. Minecraft didn't just win, it pulled a cinematic heist. While Snow White dragged itself to a tired $160 million after multiple reshoots and a PR scramble, Minecraft smashed the gates with a $300 million global debut. No drama, no grandstanding, just blocks, skeletons, and solid fun. Critics might have rolled their eyes, but the audience? They packed the theaters. This wasn't just a success, it was a straight-up beatdown. Minecraft came out swinging with a $300 million opening weekend. Snow White, even with weeks of marketing and reshoots, couldn't cross $160 million. And now Minecraft's out here dancing on Disney's shattered dreams like a creeper, with TNT in its back pocket. Jack Black alone brought more charisma in 5 seconds than the whole runtime of Disney's Snow White combined. The theaters were buzzing. Teens dressed up. Kids were hyped. Parents actually had fun. It was an event. It had soul. Something Disney's been missing. Let's face it, Disney can't relate anymore. A once iconic character is now a meme. A powerhouse studio has become a cautionary tale, and a blocky game adaptation just blew them out of the water with charm, clarity, and confidence. Minecraft didn't have that Disney legacy. What it had was pixelated heart, a story that respected its fans and no smug press tour to alienate people. So, what's the moral here? Simple. Respect the story. Respect your audience. And for the love of cinema, shut up during the press tour. Nobody's mad at change. Nobody's against progress. They just don't want to be insulted by someone who acts like the very movie they're promoting is beneath them. If Disney had just modernized Snow White with care, stayed true to its roots, and picked someone who loved the original, this could have been a billion-dollar win. Instead, they delivered a lecture and a tiara, and now they're the punchline in every meme on X. Meanwhile, Minecraft is giving kids something to cheer for, teens a reason to cosplay in suits, and parents a good time at the theater. It's a much-needed reminder for Hollywood. Audiences don't want activism disguised as art. They want fun. Pure, unapologetic fun. And when you give it to them, they show up. So yeah, Rachel's collapse isn't just about one role, it's a symptom of a much bigger issue. A tone-deaf industry that thinks it can talk down to people and still cash in. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was Rachel Zegler unfairly turned into a scapegoat? Or did she dig this hole herself with a mic in one hand and an ego in the other? Should Disney reboot the remakes? Or their whole strategy? Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you in the next one.